Hello learners, this is Habiba with UGC Net Paper 2 Education Unit 3 Learner and Learning Process. We will continue with the topic Approaches to Intelligence from Unitary to Multiple Theories of Intelligence. Let's proceed. In the previous class we have learnt about the meaning of intelligence. Now let's understand about the theories. In the present age of extensive psychological thinking, many theories about intelligence prevail for this. There are definite reasons why these intelligence theories have been developed. There are different reasons, maybe. Now, let's understand in detail. In the past, the psychologists believed in the theory of faculty or force. They held that many forces existed in the human mind and that these faculties indicated or represented the individual's intelligence. That means each and every individual has some force inside the mind which tends to let the individual do something different. Attainments in imagination, experience, and memory were believed to be achieved as a result of intelligence. Obviously, attainments of imagination. If we have some power of imagination, that means we do have some intelligence. That is, whatever we experience, with that experience we move forward with the new things, and also the memory. Whatever we have done in the past, that lasts longer in our brain. So because of that experience, memory, imagination, we tend to do different things. So as a result, what happens? That we will achieve the power of intelligence. With the passage of time, many new schools of thought emerged in psychology. These schools propagated their own theories and concepts of intelligence. Obviously, with the passage of time, many psychologists, they have given their own theories of intelligence. These theories are outlined here below. Let's understand one by one. There are n number of theories. Maybe we are going to take a few theories in this class. First one, unitary or monarchic theory. Our unit itself tells us from unitary to multiple intelligence. So one by one, from unitary to multiple, we will understand about different theories which have been given by different psychologists. Now the first one, unitary or monarchic theory. Ross says that intelligence is inborn and innate. What is the belief of Ross? That is, intelligence is already inbuilt in our mind, he says. That is inborn, that is innate, it is in ourselves. This theory accepted intelligence as a part of the body. What do they say? Intelligence is our part of the body. This is a central point which generates all the mental activity. That means intelligence is inborn, innate, and also it is a part of a body. It is a central which will lead to different mental activities. It generates all the mental activities. This theory has a great defect that it cannot provide a clear picture of intelligence. Neither it emphasizes on individual differences. That means every individual will not have the same capability of intelligence, isn't it? Otherwise, everybody would have become unique persons. Some people might have few intelligences, some other may have other intelligences. That means this theory did not give any clear picture of intelligence. It did not emphasize on individual differences. That means each individual is different and unique. Every individual will not have the same characteristic features. Unitary means single. According to this theory, an intelligent person should be intelligent in all the spheres of life. That means an intelligent person should be intelligent enough to deal anything in the whole span of life, in the sphere of life. Freeman, Stern, Ross, etc. supported this view and stated that intelligence controls over all the mental activities. So whatever mental activities we do, intelligence only will support all those mental activities, they say. Now, according to this unitary or mono, what do they say? Intelligence is a single unit. You can see a circle here. It's a single unit. Everybody having some intelligence as a single unit which operates all the mental activities or supports the mental activities, they say. Now the second theory, unitary means single, we have learned. Now let's see the two-factor theory, that is also called as electic theory. Now Spearman propagated this theory. According to him, there are two elements in intelligence. Number one is general ability. Number two is specific ability. Now what is this general ability? It is applied in every intellectual activity and it differs from individual to individual. Since every individual differs from one another from the viewpoint of mental activities. That means general ability is applied in every intellectual activity. Every whatever we are doing, any purposive things, this general ability is in there. But it differs from one individual to another individual, which is lacking in the first theory, unitary method. They did not give importance to individual differences. This theory gives importance to individual differences because every individual is different. They see the things, their viewpoint of mental qualities are different. So according to Spearman, general ability is mental power, which everybody has that mental power. Just as physical power is used in doing physical activities, in the same manner, mental energy or power is used in performing mental activities. Physical activities we do with hands, legs, eyes, everything we do physical activities. Same way, mental energy or power is also used by mental activities. So the extent of general ability possessed by an individual can be gauged by the activities requiring insight which the individual perform. So general ability, they should have some insight to do any particular activity. That means to perform things. If I do this thing, what will happen? What would be the consequence? They should have some insight. So relational education and correlational education are found to exist in this kind of ability. So in the general ability, what happens? Relational education. We try to see the relation between two things. Correlation. If the child is good in one subject, in another subject, how they do correlate with those two subjects. As far as specific ability is concerned, it too differs from individual to individual. Specific also differs from individual to individual. It makes its contribution to the individual's personal development and to the development of concepts. Specific itself is the meaning of some particular thing. That is, it develops the personal development, a particular thing development and particular concept development will be there in this kind. So let's see here the picture of the two-factor theory. General ability is a sphere which every mind will have. But specific, like verbal, you can see here S, they are specific abilities. Maybe verbal ability, some might have some communication ability, some kinesthetic ability. Excuse me. So general ability is in general, specific is the specific qualities or specific activities performed by any individual. So let's come to the third one, multi-factor theory. According to this theory propagated by Thorndike, there is no such element as a general factor in intelligence, he says. That means, as earlier Spearman said, some general factor. But here Thorndike denies that general factor. Intelligence is a compound of many factors, he says. because any mental activity is performed by the collective functioning of many factors. It is for this reason that correlation can be found in two mental tests. So what he says here, that means different intelligence is compound of many factors. So many factors are there, maybe psychological, physical, emotional, and many factors are included in this. It is for this reason that correlation can be found in two mental tests. If we take any mental test, correlation we see in that. In research it happens. Thorndike has sought to throw light on the nature of intelligence on the basis of the theory of stimulus response. That is, stimulus means something provoking to do something. As a result, we will give some response. His view is that the experiences between which the relationship of stimulus and response is established help the individual to solve similar problems in the future. Obviously, if a person is facing any problem, this stimulus response which will provoke the person to give some response, these all things will help in future. They will take these as example to solve the problems in future. On the basis of these elements, Thorndike has accepted the existence of abstract, concrete and social intelligence. These are the types of intelligence. In coming classes we will discuss in detail about these types of intelligence. So Thorndike accepted these all these things exist in the multi-factor theory. The fourth one is group factor theory. It is held in this theory propounded by Thurston that intelligence is a collectivity, congregation, aggregate of many factors. As multiple says here, group factor also they agree about Thurston, the person who propounded this intelligence. Collectivity, that means group, collected, congregation also coming together, so many things coming together, aggregate of many factors, which he calls the group factors. Now these group factors, let's see what are these group factors. There are two divisions in these group factors, primary and secondary. Let's discuss first the primary factors. According to Thurston, the primary factors in intelligence are the following. The first one is number. The ability related to numbers helps in solving numerical or mathematical problems. So here what is Thurston says, what is a primary factor here? Numbers. Each and every individual has some ability to relate these numbers to solve some numerical problems. In general life also, if a person, a layman also knows to count how much money he has in hand. So the number ability is the intelligence which the person has. Then verbal comprehension. This is helpful in the development of logical thinking, scholarly studies, knowledge of words, etc. Obviously, every person is not good in perfect communication, but each and every person has the ability to communicate with verbal things, knowledge of different words, comprehension words. So this is helpful in development of some logical thinking, and if scholars they study higher and higher, so this verbal comprehension is the one factor of intelligence. Then space. This is essential for the perception of differences and distances. Perception means understanding of differences and distances in space or geological things we see in this space, distance, time, etc. Then word fluency. As a result of this ability, students develop their capacity in the use of language. Obviously, this is one of the factor of intelligence, word fluency. As a result, what happens? The student will develop the capacity of using language, using so many words. Then reasoning. Through the medium of this ability, the student's capacity of reasoning is tested. So, reasoning is also one of the factors of intelligence. To test the ability, how much the person has the ability to solve any problem through their mental aptitude. Now the second one under this group factor, that is secondary factors. This class includes the following factors. Number one, spatial ability. Again, the extension of spatial ability. This is the use in discovering the spatial relationships between objects. Next one is perceptual speed. That is, I told you perceptual means understanding of speed. This manifests the individual speed in understanding an object or seeing it, observing its similarity to other objects, and comprehending its difference to other objects. Next one is associative memory. The ability to remember two associated experience falls in the sphere of this ability. That means associating the memories, the past memory and what we see, we associate these two things in future. Then problem solving. This is very, very important, problem solving in the factor of intelligence. In the context of this ability, the individual's ability to solve new problems is tested here. So these are all the primary and secondary factors. Nowadays, much thought is being devoted to a consideration of the suitability of these various theories. The basis of these theories are the various organs. The development of intelligence is influenced by heredity and environment. Obviously, intelligence, heredity, some we might acquire from our ancestors and parents, some we will acquire experiencing in the environment. The view of physiognometics. What is the meaning of physiognomists? A person supposedly able to judge character or formally to predict the future from facial characteristics. So the view of these persons, and then organize that intelligence is a compound of many elements, is a misleading one, they say. All the theories on intelligence layman's activity. So whatever intelligence theories are there, that lays the man's activity. According to Whiteman, in the first place, we reject any theory which states mental testing is perfectly capable of discovering the mysteries of intellectual defects in the content of attainments in life. In general, we concur with the view that specific behaviors reflect in intelligence, although very often we do believe that some supernatural intelligence inherent in the individual. So, Burt and Vernon have propounded a different view. They argue that general mental ability is of two kinds. One is numerical, verbal, educational together, and the next one is mechanical, dynamic or activity related. So they have given importance to specific abilities of the individual only at a later stage. This is called the theory of order. So from here we will take in the next class, because it is going too long. I have more theories here to be discussed. I will discuss all these in the next class. So let's conclude this topic here only, and we will continue in the next class. I have all the PPT ready. So thanks for your attention and time. As motivation, please do like, share, subscribe and comment below. Happy learning.